got to get your takeaway, though, on we've talked about this in the past, this a few weeks ago, Congressman, on the business roundtable and their decision to say, look, profits are no longer the priority. I sat down with the founder and co-CEO of Salesforce yesterday, Mark Benioff, and he said capitalism as we know it is dead. He says we need a new capitalism. Here's what he said. I got to get your reaction. Watch this. I was talking with Congressman Andy Barr recently in Washington, and he said to me, when you're talking about this, I want to hear, who is going to defend capitalism and whether or not this is an opening for the Elizabeth Warrens to come in and say, oh, guess what? Let's tweak this. Let's change this. Let's not be married to shareholders. When you look at some of these plans, like, for example, Elizabeth Warren and her Green New Deal, or Bernie Sanders and Medicare for All, you're talking about $100 trillion when you add all this stuff up. You're not going to get that from just overtaxing you. You're not going to get that from just overtaxing the top 1%, right? It's just not enough money.
Well, look at what the VA has done to reduce veterans' homelessness. It's been really astonishing. And this is work, actually, that we've researched at UCSF. I have my own Benioff Homeless Initiative there because I'm so focused on this and understanding the problem.
Congressman, he's talking about, homelessness. He's talking about the environment. He's talking about all of these other issues away from profitability. What's your reaction to the Business Roundtable's decision recently and Mark Benioff?
Look, I respect the Business Roundtable and I respect their leadership. Obviously, Mr. Diamond and the other CEOs who signed this restatement or a redefinition of a corporate purpose, they are great business leaders, and they've obviously maximized shareholder value for their shareholders. Otherwise, they wouldn't be where they are. But I think this is a big mistake, Maria. I think it's going to be a costly mistake. Look at where we are in American history right now. We are in the middle of an ideological battle between socialism and capitalism, and we cannot have the business community retreat and invite the socialist left to interject their social agenda, their environmental social agenda into corporate boardrooms right now. The primary goal and the primary mission of a corporation should always be to maximize shareholder value. Otherwise, they can't help their workers. They can't contribute to their communities. If they don't exist because they go bankrupt, because they do not maximize profitability, they can't do all the things that the Business Roundtable says that they want to do in terms of taking care of their customers or their supply chain. And what I would say is this. When you interject other priorities or other interests above and beyond, and by the way, they elevated stakeholders above shareholders. Shareholders were listed last in their redefinition. What that means is that is going to take the focus away from the efficient allocation of resources. It's going to result in a misallocation of resources, and that's going to have a negative impact on investor returns. That is a terrible situation in this country where we have a low savings rate. Middle-class families are invested in the stock market through 529s, through 401ks, through IRAs. They are depending on maximizing investor returns. And at a time when the retiring baby boom generation only has $25,000 in savings, if corporate leaders are no longer going to maximize middle-class savings and maximize those returns for middle-class Americans, that is a huge crisis for our country right now. You cannot help your employees. You cannot give them a raise. You cannot help your supply chain or serve your customers if you are not profitable. And maximizing profitability lowers the cost of capital. It means higher multiples in the equity markets. It means cheaper debt. That is very good for earnings, and that's very good for growth and job creation. And when the social responsibility of a company, of a public company, is to maximize shareholder value, because when you do that, you maximize profits, which are taxable. You increase the number of taxpayers because you're adding workers. That means the government's bringing in more revenue. So my view here is that while maybe well-intentioned, this kind of a statement from the business community is going to invite things like this, which is Elizabeth Warren and Senator Elizabeth Warren, the favorite to be the Democratic nominee for the presidency, asking corporations and expecting corporations to change the way they do business to elevate the liberal social policies. She wants to co-opt corporations, and she's demanding, now that they've made this statement, that she's demanding that they repurpose their activities to elevate liberal social policies. And corporations, that's not their core mission.
Yep.
And corporations should not be tools for the liberal left to advance their environmental and social agenda that has nothing to do, by the way, with the business of these corporations.
Yeah, you said it very well, Congressman, and somebody's got to say it. So we appreciate you joining us to talk about this important issue. Please come back soon so we can have a longer conversation about it. Well said, Congressman. Thank you.